Happy Tuesday, everyone, and welcome again to the Unity of Livonia, a Course in Miracles study group. And we are continuing our exciting journey through A Course in Miracles, cover to cover. And so we have a ways to go still. But man, have we covered a lot of territory, a lot of words, a lot of proposed study. But I think we'll find that things will taper off a little bit in terms of the demand for traditional, let's study this and try and understand it. And move more from a study format per se to a focus on experience. And I think you'll find all of the study to have been worth it when you see the zone that it will prepare you for. And it's an experiential zone. And I don't know if any of you have attended my Wednesday evening sessions, ACIM Music and Meditation. Our focus is on that experiential mode. But regardless of that, do you have any comments about this journey so far? We've completed 28 chapters in the text, and we've completed 196, at least theoretically. I don't know if you specifically have been able to study them, but theoretically, we've covered 196 of the 220 lessons in part one of the workbook. And I don't know, Karen's probably gasping, thinking, oh, well, you mean there's a part two? And it is, there's a part two, but you'll be pleased to know that the format changes considerably. As a matter of fact, the introduction to part two starts out, words will mean little now. So you can go, okay. And I think Jesus knows how much we can bear. So, anyhow, all of that to say, I appreciate you sticking with this. Um, any other comments from you before we start down our agenda this evening? All right. Um, I haven't heard from Ron. He was here last night, though, so hopefully he can make it on in here. Um, anyhow, you know, we on our schedule, we worked on chapter 28 this week, and chapter 28 was called The Undoing of Fear. And on the schedule this week, we had lessons 190 to 196. And if you'll remember, we spent quite a bit of time with that lesson 190. I choose the joy of God instead of pain. And the notion was introduced that pain is a choice, not an inevitable certainty. And we wrestle with that for a little while. But just one of many incredible statements Jesus makes from the Course. Hi, Ron. How are you, sir? Let me see if I can get you unmuted here, Ron.
I think he's frozen.
Oh, all right. Yeah, looks like
I
it.
guess he is.
Yeah, maybe he can hear us or we'll try and come back in again. But
I can hear
uh,
you.
Oh,
our,
okay, good. There
okay,
you are, live.
Can you hear me?
I can,
Yes. Yes.
and we can see
Great.
you moving and everything, and you're looking good too, man. As you,
Thank you. Thank you. Good
thank
to
you.
see everybody.
Thank you. We were just about to get to our big question we always ask, and that is whether you have any questions or comments about chapter 28, The Undoing of Fear, or about our lessons this week, which were 190 through 196. Any comments, questions? All right. Well, I'll tell you, I look through it. Sometimes I'll try and flag something for discussion. I will say this, not so much about the text in chapter 28, but there was a cluster of workbook lessons that really have stuck with me over the years. And it starts with lesson 193. It says, all things are lessons God would have me learn. What do you think was meant by that title? All things are lessons. Uh, the reason I ask is it's a pretty audacious statement, isn't it? Did he really mean the only everything is a lesson? Every I'm just because that's a pretty sweeping statement. Surely everything here can't be a lesson, can it?
Why can't it?
Okay. Yes, ma'am. Such a wonderful answer. Why? If you were looking for the answer to everything, that is a possible answer as to the purpose of everything, isn't it?
Yes.
And then lesson 194, I place the future in the hands of God. About future, about what? I mean, can you be more specific? Or is he serious?
Yeah.
Well, I was going to say if I get in trouble, I can't figure it out, and there are no other options. I'll turn it over to God. Okay, God, it's in your hands.
Yeah, right.
But there are a lot of steps I can take before I get to that point, right? That makes sense, doesn't it? There are a
Yeah.
lot of things I can try on my own before I go bothering God, right?
Right.
God's busy, right? That's a lot of work, right?
Nope. It is his work.
Why not, Karen?
He's right there with you all the time, never too busy. He's you.
You know, lesson 195. Love is the way I walk in gratitude. That stuck with me for years. Did you see that one this week, or are you familiar with that lesson title? Love is the way I walk in gratitude. Talk about it, somebody, please. What does it mean here? Okay, then what about lesson 192? Are you turning pages with me now?
Yeah, we're at 195, right?
Yeah, but since we're
Go back to
struggling,
192, you're saying? Okay.
since we're struggling with 195, let's ease into it with 192. It says, I have a function God would have me feel. What is the function that God would have me feel?
To forgive
And where would I carry out that function?
in my daily life.
Everywhere, all the time.
Okay, and being more macro about it here in level 2, right?
Mhm.
I have a function God would have me feel where? Here in level 2. Really, my job is to save the world. And so my function is what? 192 talks about it, but a lot of places we've talked about what is my function? God gave me a very lofty function, which I am not fulfilling because my ego is afraid of it. What is that lofty function?
Forgiveness.
Okay, forgiveness, excellent. Uh,
To love,
okay,
extend love, express love.
and so the reason my function is to be myself. What is myself? It starts with a L.
Love.
I am not a body. I am a spirit, and my nature is the same as my creator's. What is my creator's nature?
Love.
Love.
Okay. So, how hard should it be to be what you are?
It should be quite natural.
It should be natural, easy, like falling off a log to be what you are. And yet, that is the function that we were given to carry out here in level 2. Our job is to bring heaven to earth, to integrate earth, even if it's an illusion, to bring it from an illusory state into a reality. And the way we can do that is by carrying out our function. That seems so difficult. Can you be loving all the time?
No.
Okay. We'll be talking more extensively about that tonight. As a matter of fact, maybe that's a good segue to get into our reading tonight. We're going to start tonight in the text on chapter 29. And chapter 29 is called The Awakening. It's on page 606. And so why don't we turn there and we'll start with our reading list. D is reader 1, and then Nicole, and then 3 is Karen, 4 is Sherilyn. Should I skip you tonight, Hilda?
Please do.
Sure. And then Joan is 5. She follows Sherilyn. And Ron is reader 6. And let's give it a go. I think that Jesus understands how difficult it seems to be loved all the time. So, Dee, get us started with that first section tonight. Let's see if we can. I know on the schedule it says 1 and 2, but given the length of our section 1 and given the length of our workbook lesson tonight, I think we'll be doing a good job if we get both of those done. And I think you'll get a lot out of it. So get us started, Dee, if you would.
The closing of the gap. There is no time, no place, no state where God is absent. There is nothing to be feared. There is no way in which a gap could be conceived of in the wholeness that is His. The compromise the least and the littlest gap would represent in His eternal love is quite impossible. For it would mean His love could harbor just a hint of hate. His gentleness turns sometimes to attack, and His eternal patience sometimes fail. All this do you believe when you perceive a gap between your brother and yourself? How could you trust Him then? For He must be deceptive in His love. Be wary then, let Him not come too close and leave a gap between you and His love, through which you can escape if there be need for you to flee.
Well, see what I mean? Here we go. Nicole, do paragraph 2, okay?
Okay. Here is the fear of God most plainly seen. For love is treacherous to those who fear, since fear and hate can never be apart. No one who hates but is afraid of love, and therefore must he be afraid of God. Certain it is he knows not what love means. He fears to love and loves to hate, and so he thinks that love is fearful, hate is love. This is the consequence the little gap must bring to those who cherish it and think that it is their salvation and their hope.
Hmm. So let's look at paragraph 1 and may as well get into seeing if we can understand it. First of all, in general, do you understand what's being said here? And does it ring true for you about this gap? What does he mean, gap? It first appears in sentence 3 of paragraph 1. There is no way in which a gap could be conceived of in the wholeness that is His. Who's His? That's an easy one. Let's see. Who's His?
God.
Okay. So what's a gap?
Well, I think one can't
Breaker.
understand that sentence unless they have read the first sentence, because the third sentence says that there is no way in which a gap could be conceived. Well, if you think God is not everywhere, then they could be conceived. But first, they say there is no time, no place, no state where God is absent. So, thus, there is no way in which a gap could be conceived of in the wholeness and that is His, meaning that there can be no space. A gap is like a space where the holiness of God, including all of His nature, can be absent.
I think that's great. What do the rest of you think in her description of a gap? It's how can you be omnipresent? Y'all know what I mean? Omnipresent. Sometimes. How can you be omnipresent sometimes Now, that's the statement being made in the macro. But if we drill down and let's just be more practical about it, okay? God is love, so there's no place, no state where love is absent. Is it okay to substitute? It said God is absent. What if I said love is absent? Would that work for you?
Yes.
Mhm.
So that's the broad statement. But looking at it on a more practical level, what happens if you believe that you can love sometimes and hate sometimes? If you can love a little bit sometimes and love a lot other times, be upset sometimes and be violent sometimes. Where do these degrees, these little breaks in what always is, where did we get permission to be like that? Well, a
Our
lot of
egos.
Ego.
that's true. And yet, in a more traditional sense, be Freud and psychology and ego and all of that, in a more traditional sense, look at the Bible. Okay, God is love, but don't piss him off, or he'll turn this love and he'll come and smite you and all your family generation upon generation. You ever heard that story about God?
Mhm.
So the preacher says in my old church, God is love. And we would say, all the time. And then we read right in the Bible where he didn't seem to be loving all the time. So if we are created in the likeness and image of God, you've heard that one, right? Then it's important for us to understand what God's nature is. And we think there needs to be a correction between how God has been portrayed traditionally by humans. Look at the first line in the third paragraph, and you'll see it says here, the fear of God. Well, you've heard that before, right? The fear of God. If God is love, would it be okay if I substituted the word love there? And it would become the fear of love?
Mm.
Yeah, that's what it
So,
is.
how can you find what you're looking for, what everyone is looking for, if they're afraid of it? Do you really want to find it if you're afraid of it? Do you see the counterpoint, the conflict, the speaking on forked tongues that we're required to do in order to make sense out of traditional philosophy about who God is, and by extension, who we must be? How am I doing with these two paragraphs? Does that help?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Does it conflict with what you read there?
Mm-mm.
One of the places I wanted to ask you about, in paragraph 1, in sentence 7, how could you, well, how could you trust him then? Who's he?
God.
Because, yeah, that's what I came up. But look at sentence 6. It says, all this do you believe when you perceive a gap, a space, right? Between an empty part, between your brother and yourself. So at first I thought, well, okay, him is your brother. But no, I think I agree with D. Him is God. And look how it's capitalized. Sentence 7. How could you trust him then? For God must be deceptive in God's love. Be wary then. Let God not come too close and leave a gap between you and God's love through which you can escape if there be need for you to flee. You mean you don't trust God's love and you want to just make sure if you were deceived or if his love turned to punishment, right? We've heard about God punishing, right? Well, you want to just make sure maybe I can escape if need be. We love you, God. Almost. Is it? Hi, Sue. Welcome.
Hi.
Have a comment here?
Yes. The Bible, first of all, was written by man. Second of all, fear, according to man, provides control. And we all know that. And when you build people up to fear, you're controlling them if they believe that. Fear of what? So it serves a very useful purpose for someone who wants to control.
Okay.
And love, I never thought of people being afraid of love, but yes, there are people who are afraid of love. And so they have fear of God. And I'll tell a very quick story. On Yom Kippur, about 3 years ago, 4 years ago, the rabbi read where it says on Yom Kippur, God determines who lives, who dies, what happens, etc., all these bad things. And when he got through reading them all, he looked at the congregation and he said, you know what? I don't believe any of that.
Yes.
And the whole congregation burst out laughing and was ready to applaud.
He's one of those new age rabbis, if you okay. And just to dovetail on that, if we went to the Vatican, or even if you looked at some of the popes, you could see some cracks in that principle starting to, in other words, get rid of, punish your enemies and things like that. But it takes a long time for those institutions to evolve or even to admit some maybe error in interpretations and philosophies historically. What are y'all's thoughts? Do you see what we mean? Even in the rabbis, some people, they're not buying some of these old. If that's your message, Sue, I thought I understood you.
Well, he believes God is a good God, a loving God. And he's reading that God is going to determine what's going to happen to us. And so he just made the statement. I don't believe it.
Yeah.
Is he reformed?
Yeah,
Conservative?
no,
Reform?
he's reformed. I don't think you'd get that from a conservative.
That's what I was wondering.
He's
So thank you.
surprised.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think I
He's
got it too.
reformed.
Thank you. That's a great example of how we've all been touched by these traditional uh, comments that we take as rock solid, that we're starting to see. You can't be unconditionally loving if there's a gap in loving. Does that make sense on the macro level?
Yes.
Yeah, we have all these, well, the ego makes all these exceptions instead of inclusivity.
Right.
So when we look at the so-called culprit, which is we've evolved to think of things happening at the psychological level, we attribute it to this psychological interference. Somebody told us we could have gaps in love.
Somebody told us we should
Mhm.
have gaps in love to be safe and protect ourselves.
All right, so do you see where this is going? We read a couple of paragraphs. You think we're on the same page about where it seems to be headed?
Mhm.
I think so.
Who's our next reader then? Let's keep going. Sue,
What page are you on?
we're on page 606 in the text,
Okay.
and you'll follow Ron. He's reader 6, so you can be reader 7. All right, my friend?
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for coming tonight and for your sharing.
Oh, I'm sorry I'm always late, but I can't get on earlier.
Hey, this is the easiest place you'll ever find to be late. So don't even look at it.
Well, I'm not encouraging it of everybody.
Me either.
No exceptions. Sorry.
Karen, we're up to you, my friend. Paragraph 3.
Okay. The fear of God, the greatest obstacle that peace must flow across, has not yet gone. The rest are past, but this one still remains to block your path and make the way to light seem dark and fearful, perilous, and bleak. You had decided that your brother is your enemy, sometimes a friend, perhaps, provided that your separate interests made your friendship possible a little while. But not without a gap perceived between you and him, lest he turn into an enemy. Oh, I'm sorry, lest he turn again into an enemy. Let him come close to you, and you jumped back. As you approached, did he but instantly withdraw? A cautious friendship, and limited in scope and carefully restricted in amount, became the treaty that you had made with him. Thus, you and your brother but shared a qualified entity in which a clause of separation was a point you both agreed to keep intact. And violating this was thought to be a breach of treaty, not to be allowed.
If I can just mention that the word entente is a French word and it's entente. And that word that means agreement.
Oh, sorry.
It's okay.
And did I say it
Not
right?
no, it's not an English word, so it's not an entity, it's an entente.
Oh, entente.
It's a French word and it means like an agreement.
Oh, okay.
So
Thank you.
the you and your brother but shared a qualified agreement to stay just the right distance from each
Ah,
other.
okay.
Almost, though, but just in case, right?
Yes.
That's the agreement. Do you agree? Isn't that what you practice every day?
Yes.
Maybe.
Totally.
That's what I try not to practice.
I'm a really nice person, but if you cross a certain line, that's it, baby. Okay? That's it. We go fight, right?
Right.
That's what I use with my family members. I keep just a comfortable distance so that we don't fight, but that we stay close enough that we feel close. To me, I call it, I'm not saying it's right or not. That's what we talk about. Um, so it's the safe distance where I'm not going to split up, just like you said. Because if I'm too close, then I'll get really mad sometimes. And they just controlling, that's how I perceive it, and so on. And each other's,
Yeah.
character moves up. So there's a safe distance where things can be handled.
Yeah.
Healthy boundaries, we
Yeah,
call
you
it.
can call it that.
Yeah.
But here it says that, but totally I do that with my friends, with people at work, and with family members.
So you agree he's got us pegged, right?
Yep.
All right. Let's continue. We're on to paragraph 4. And Sherilyn White, my friend.
Okay. The gap between you and your brother is not one of space between two separate bodies, and this but seems to be dividing off your separate minds. It is the symbol of a promise made to meet when you prefer and separate till you and he elect to meet again. And then your bodies seem to get in touch and thereby signify a meeting place to join. But always is it possible for you and him to go your separate ways, conditional upon the right to separate while you and he agree to meet from time to time and keep apart in intervals of separation, which do protect you from the sacrifice of love. The body saves you, for it gets away from total sacrifice and gives to you the time in which to build again your separate self, which you truly believe diminishes as you and your brother meet. Wow.
Mm.
That sounds kind of like what Nicole told us.
Yeah.
Sort of.
Yeah. So let me ask you about this because there's a new sub discussion going on here. It's about bodies and
Yeah.
how we use them. All right. It says that the gap between you and your brother is not one of space between two separate bodies. And this, but seems to be dividing off your separate minds. What's this?
Can you tell us which phrase, which sentence that is?
Paragraph 4. I
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
read the first sentence.
Oh, the
and
first one. Okay.
second
Okay.
sentence.
The gap between.
And this, but seems to be dividing off your separate minds. What's this? D, you're muted is the problem.
Is it the gap?
Well, it's
Yeah,
in
I
the
think so.
previous sentence. Yeah, it's the gap, but
Between.
it's not one of. Here, let me read it this way. The gap between you and your brother, you think, is because of separate bodies. But Jesus says the gap between you and your brother is not really one of separate bodies.
It's in our mind.
Mhm.
Yes. Yeah,
The,
because can I say, because when I truly love someone, like with true love with a big L, then the bodies are in the way. I hate to be separated. The bodies seem to be like a sacrifice. If I truly love with a big L, then I want no gap whatsoever, not even the gaps of bodies. And that's where sometimes one can fear love with a big L, because one will go away if you think about it as a body. They will either die or whatever. So it this what he describes here only happens with those I don't love completely.
I understand.
So that's why it's a gap in our separate minds. So it's in my mind that the gap is I don't want to be that close with
Right.
that person.
Now, you have clear insight, but for a lot of people, what we're going to talk about is how we use the body as a scapegoat for the gap. All right.
So
I can't be with them all the time. Sometimes I'm away from them. Sometimes I'm with someone else. And so when I'm not with them, we don't have a relationship. We're separate.
That's not true.
And I can choose when I want to join with them. See, my body's not even there. How can I join them if I'm not there? Right? Is that what he's talking about here? Sue, you had a comment here?
With people I love, whether they're friends or family, that are my beloved, they're endeared and I adore them. I don't have to be with them. I'm always with them. We're a unity of one, but we're really a unity of one. We love each other unconditionally, period. End of scenario. And if
So,
there's something I'm not happy with or they're not happy with me, we'll address it, we'll work with it, but not from the standpoint that we can't stand each other, from the standpoint of we're trying to find a solution. That can't happen with everything, but I pick and choose whom I choose for my friends. I can't pick my family, but I pick my friends.
why?
Why do I pick my friends? I gravitate toward people who are like me. And that's part of unity. Whoever you are is who you will bring to yourself to learn from or to work with for them.
So let me just stay with that again. If that's true, why wouldn't it bring everyone since everyone's the same? You say they
In an
don't.
ideal world, it would. That's how I'll answer you.
So, yes. So this is theoretical, but not very practical. Nicole, you had a comment also?
yeah, if I can. Um, what I've been understanding from my teacher right now in this, now that I'm more ready for that, is a little bit that everyone who comes towards me, I don't mean they come to me, I mean who come into my daily life, however it happens, um, they're like a lesson, like you had said at the beginning. They're a lesson because they reflect my inner spirit. They reflect, if they're angry person, they reflect inner anger that I have. So of course I would like to be surrounded. Well, that's how I wanted to be surrounded before. Before I didn't even want to be here on earth because there wasn't enough love to me. So I wanted to be somewhere else, wherever that was. But now I've started to hear that I'm to look at what's there inside of me, my world, what you guys talk about, my dream, my illusion, and my separateness from God, which is represented by the person who seems to be in front of me. So in order to practice, what I do with that is I come back every Tuesday to hear a bit more.
And I feel you on that. Thank you. Other comments on this paragraph or anything here? You'll find them talking about bodies in the subsequent paragraphs, but see if you don't think he's saying, as an excuse from closing the gap, the body is a natural scapegoat. It's a wonderful excuse as to why there can be gaps in your wholeness, in your oneness. And the inference is that the real problem is in the mind, as you said earlier, right? Okay, who wants to read? Well, we're up to Joni, and we're on paragraph 5.
Paragraph 5.
Mhm.
The body could not separate your mind from your brother's unless you wanted it to be a cause of separation and of distance between you and him. Thus do you endow it with a power that lies not within itself. And herein lies its power over you. For now you think that it determines when your brother and you meet and limits your ability to make communion with your brother's mind. And now it tells you where to go and how to go there, what is feasible for you to undertake and what you cannot do. It dictates what its health can tolerate and what will tire it and make it sick. And its inherent weaknesses set up the limitations on what you would do and keep your purpose limited and weak. Wow.
You ever looked at it that way before? Is he lying, or no, that's not me at all?
Yeah.
I mean, there's room for dissent, we can talk about it, or has he got us pegged pretty good?
He got us pegged.
Why would we want to set up inherent weaknesses that set limitations on what you would do and keep our purpose limited and weak?
Our purpose meaning love?
Well, is that the body's purpose?
Oh, the body's purpose. Okay.
This paragraph, am I right, is about the body. See, it's
Yeah.
about the body, and then in sentence 2, thus do you endow it with a power that lies not within itself. What is it? What is it? What's that referring to?
The body.
Body.
And herein lies the body's power over you. For now you think your body determines when your brother and you meet and limit. Do you see where I'm going? This
Yeah. Yeah.
is about the body. But why would you pick the attributes of something that puny?
Because we want
Why
to
would
keep
you
separate. We want to be different from each other. We want to keep separate. We want to be special.
You want separate heavens.
Mhm.
You cannot have separate heavens. It does not work, but you gonna make it work anyway. In there, Who would do that? What sort of mind would be so engaged that they would debilitate themselves, turn over their identity to something that ensures their limitations, smallness, and meekness and weakness? It starts with an E. And
Yeah.
would the ego pursue it? Because it's insane. Don't you agree?
But that's not what society teaches us. It teaches us that that's
No.
the only way to think.
Yes. Yes, that's precisely it. It's because we've been poorly taught.
Totally.
I'm not mad at them. There are a variety of reasons why they taught us what they taught us, but that don't mean I have to be under its imprisonment because, okay, so correct it, right? Now you
Well,
say,
we believe that we believe in it, so we're not willing to change it up.
okay, and I would say, why do you believe in it? Why are you unwilling to change it? It's because the you think is you've taught it that's impossible.
Mm-hmm.
And for it, with its little old puny, weak, limited self, it is. But if that's not you, a whole new panorama of possibilities. So why would you deliberately choose this over that? It's because you listen to a teacher that's insane.
And we don't know. We're not until we are aware. We're not aware that there's a better choice.
That is a good point. That's a very good point.
So
But we can feel that something is wrong. I remember I could feel something was wrong, but I didn't know what. And my little self, my smaller identity felt, how could I know more than millions and millions of people? But I knew something was wrong.
And we don't even talk about it because we don't want to stir up the waters. And like when you were a little kid in church, when some of that didn't make sense, you didn't bring it up because you figured the wise adults knew best. Yes?
Right.
The same ones that said the earth was flat. They know it, right?
Yeah.
Oh, I always got in trouble because I was always questioning things and didn't understand the answers that I was given. So I just was always in trouble.
So they kept saying you were wrong.
They kept saying I was Mary Contrary. Mary Contrary. I was the black sheep of the family. That's a terminology, but so I was wrong.
Yes.
It's a Newman trait.
No, thank you, Hildy. Thank you.
Newman and Newman here we got going. But go ahead. Who was going to say?
I do have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
We all have individual, creative, beautiful skills and talents. And somebody created us to have, yes, they're in the whole of one, but like writing is very simple for me. My sister is a professional artist. I can't draw anything, but she comes with something beautiful. But I can write and I can write a book. And so God, for whatever reason, maybe it's all in the whole. It's all in the whole, and we all get these talents, and maybe we could all do everything individuals can do, but it's easier for some than for others.
Mhm.
So there is some individuality involved.
And yet, what if you were your sister and your sister were you also? What would that do to expand your talents? Would
I
you
should have two talents.
have her talents and she would have yours, and Dee would have yours, and you would have hers, and Joan? It just depended on which ones you wanted to pursue. But all of those talents are latent within you.
I don't know about that. I think
I
Sue
don't know
makes a
about
good
that
point.
either.
And I think what happens is we get stuck in the form instead of seeing the sameness of the content.
And so why are
That it's just
why
different
are
forms of
this
expressing love. That's all they are. And
That's
we
true. That is true.
and so to me it's what's the it's not about the form. It's about what's the love that's being
Well,
expressed.
I think that God gave us all special gifts. And yes, they're part of a whole. And for some, that special gift is very easy to make happen. For some, it's in the middle. For some, it's impossible to them. But I do think he made us to be individuals within the whole. And as individuals, we have all our gifts that help the whole to be more complete. And yes, writing is easy for me, art is easy for my sister. I picked writing. If I picked art, I might have done it and I might have just forgotten about it because it was too frustrating to pursue and I didn't care that much. So I think God, even though it's part of the whole, he gave us individual gifts, our choice whether we want to pursue them.
I think you've mentioned at different occasions the idea of an orchestra, and I think that probably it makes a lot of sense because how can you make a beautiful music if you only have one instrument and everybody is playing that instrument? The tapestry of society exists because everybody submits something different, contributes something different,
Okay.
which makes it pretty.
Well, I admit the three of you have some valid points, Dee.
And then we get stuck in the differences instead of seeing the sameness in it that's expressed differently.
Gotcha.
It's the
We
same.
get thrown off track by that.
So I
They're
said,
both they're all expressions of love.
Mhm.
all right.
They're all ways to extend love, and we get so so off track with the different that we only see the differences.
Yeah, I agree. And thank you for
I
raising
agree.
that point. So your distinction, which I think gives credibility to what Sue was saying and others here, is that it's at the level of form that we have these special gifts.
Mm-hmm.
But all of the forms are coming, the true artist, if you will, of whatever form, is coming from inspiration. You can be a top athlete, a top tennis player, basketball player, artist, musician, and they'll all tell you that, man, you get into this zone where you get beyond yourself. once you learn all the technical things of playing the game or the music and get past the notes, and we all start making our art or music, and it seems to be coming from someplace supernatural. I'm just out there having fun. I'm outside of my. Does that make sense when you're an inspired writer?
Makes very good sense because
When
when God kept telling me you must write this book, and I said never, I never wrote a book before, but you've written all your life and you've done this and this and this and this, and I said you're crazy. And then I heard it so often, I said, okay, I'll do it. And the three people wrote that book: God, my son, and me.
And yet you agree it was inspired.
Oh,
And
yes, it was.
people in all pursuits at a high level, they'll tell you they work from this otherworldly zone that they get in. Y'all know what I'm saying? Would you agree?
Yes, I do.
All
Yes,
right.
I do.
Listen, we've gotten a little off topic here, but certainly worthwhile.
Not really, because it's the proving that we're bodies. All the
Very
differences go right along with the
Right.
proof that we are bodies, that we're different.
But this discussion is about how the body can be an impediment or a scapegoat for not solving a problem. And that problem is that you think that there can be gaps in love, like gaps in God.
Mhm.
God is not like you, and ergo, you are not like that either in truth. So that's the way I want to just get us back. We've got a few more paragraphs to finish. Is that okay to get back?
Sure.
All right. Who's up? I forgot. Ron, did you read yet?
I think Joan was the last one.
I think it's your turn, Ron.
Okay, paragraph 6.
6. Yes.
The body will accommodate to this if you would have it so. It will allow but limited indulgences in love, with intervals of hatred in between, and it will take command of when to love and when to shrink more safely into fear. It will be sick because you do not know what loving means, and so you must misuse each circumstance and everyone you meet and see in them a purpose not your own.
Sue, how about paragraph 7? Do you have it there?
Got it. It is not love that asks a sacrifice, but fear demands the sacrifice of love. For in love's presence, fear cannot abide. For hate to be maintained, love must be feared, and only sometimes present and sometimes gone. Thus is love seen as treacherous because it seems to come and go uncertainly and offer no stability to you. You do not see how limited and weak is your allegiance, and how frequently you have demanded that love go away and leave you quietly alone in peace.
Yep. I hate all women.
You got mostly women in your program.
Been there, right. I tolerate these people. No.
Oh dear.
Was that a true confession?
Yeah, I mean, he's got me down pat. I've been through those things. I can relate to what he's saying, in my life. let's continue here, if you don't mind. We're back to.
Uh,
Was
can I
that
ask a question?
Yes,
Can
ma'am.
I ask a question? Yeah,
Sure.
in paragraph 5, 6, and 7, is he talking mostly when we believe that love is to go somewhere to help someone, to, like for when the body needs to be engaged in what we believe is love. So that's why we use our body as being weak and so on, so that we want love to be away so that we can be in peace. And we use the body's illness to say, okay, we don't want to love. Is that what he's talking about there?
I think for me, it's more superficial. It's like all the times you fall in love and get your heart broken, and you say, "Oh, I don't want to try that again to find my true love." It's so hard.
Okay, so it's a in the, you think he's
Romantic.
talking
It
about,
is
yeah,
romantic love.
could be
Not that that's the only thing, but that's what
what
Ray
comes to
is.
you. Okay,
Yeah. Helpful.
okay.
What I'm offering anyone else. All
Well,
right.
that's fine with me.
All right. Thank you, Nicole. How about did we read? We're on paragraph 8, aren't we?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
And we're back to D.
The body, innocent of goals, is your excuse for variable goals you hold and force the body to maintain. You do not fear its weakness, but its lack of strength or weakness. Would you know that nothing stands between you and your brother? Would you know there is no gap between which you can hide? There is a shock that comes to those who learn their Savior is their enemy no more. There is a wariness that is aroused by learning that the body is not real. And there are overtones of seeming fear around the happy message God is love.
Nicole, do 9, and we'll have finished.
Yet all that happens when the gap is gone is peace eternal. Nothing more than that and nothing less. Without the fear of God, what could induce you to abandon him? What toys or trinkets in the gap could serve to hold you back an instant from his love? Would you allow the body to say no to heaven's calling? Were you not afraid to find a loss of self in finding God? Yet can yourself be lost by being found?
Oh man, listen, look at that last question, right?
Mm,
Sounds just like one of those, I don't know, paradoxes or deep questions. You can, yet can yourself be lost by being found?
Well, I
Comment.
don't think so.
Okay. Uh, no, you don't think so. Thank you. That's pretty good answer, direct answer. Any other responses?
I think
I think
oh, go ahead.
I think the reference to self really refers to the ego, and it's asking, can your ego be lost by being found, or by having your awareness back to love?
Okay.
yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Your ego is false, the small s self. And is it a sacrifice to lose that to find your capital S self? Is that your line of thought?
Yeah, that's my point.
Okay. Yeah, I'm with you.
Mm.
Other responses to that last,
I
or
think the sentence before
yeah,
is showing us that we're afraid to find a loss in our smallest self if we find God. That's what our fear is.
Yeah,
Would you allow the body to say no to heaven's calling? Were you not afraid to find a loss of self in finding God? That's what our fear is.
that will disappear somehow.
Uh-huh.
Is that your fear or your ego's fear?
Well,
I
that
think it's the
is,
ego
there's no
fear.
real fear. So it's the only thing that fear is of the ego, the
Yeah.
smallest self.
But if things are under the control of my ego, and I think my ego is me,
Right.
and my ego is a ego would say no to heaven's calling.
Right.
Am I bound to go along with that?
Not at all. The error is in thinking that that's who we are and that there'll be a loss.
And we've established that my ego is crazy, haven't we? Pretty well.
Mm-hmm.
Uh-huh.
Mm-hmm.
And if I think I'm the ego, then by extension, I'm crazy too.
Yeah.
Do you really want to be crazy?
When you are, you are.
And there's nothing you can do about it, right?
Oh, no, I can try
Sure.
to correct some of the things if I have a good teacher or a good healer or whatever.
Do you think you'll ever find a good teacher or healer?
Yes.
Where?
I think you have
The
to work
Holy
yourself.
Spirit.
Christ.
You have to realize that you're in the ego and give it up.
Yeah, but where are you going to find this super teacher that Nicole says we would replace?
Well, you
ego?
go back
in
to
your mind.
God and love.
Wait, I got a lot of people talking. Sherilyn, go first, and then
I said you go back to God and as love. You go back to love
okay,
and let go of your ego.
gotcha. Wasn't there another comment as well?
Yeah, that was Hildegard.
Yoga? What were you
Yeah,
saying?
well,
Something.
along the same lines, just saying, I mean, your teacher is within you, but you need to remove the blocks, so that you can actually listen to that teacher
So
and follow
we're,
that.
go ahead. I'm sorry, Hilda. Were you finished?
Yeah.
So along the same lines as Hilda, it's in ourself, it's in our mind,
All right.
not in the body.
And just so we don't forget, we're trying to help with Nicole about finding another teacher. I said, is there another teacher available? And where is that teacher? And Sherilyn said, love or God within. Hilda said, go within.
Go within.
Dee said, kind of the same, go within.
Mhm.
And when we go within, we'll find this invisible entity that the Course calls what?
The Holy Spirit, you mean?
All right. So, how far do you have to go to find this better teacher, Nicole?
I don't know how far you have to go, but I know that you have to have some kind of stir up inside that stirs you up so much that somehow at some point you will call to God and say, please help me.
And what if God says, I've already helped you?
No, he
Eons
doesn't
ago.
answer that to me.
Okay.
He never answers
In
that.
this
He never says,
book,
I've already told you, I've already helped you, so now that's enough. Never.
all right. In this book, take another look. He repeatedly says where you can find this help. He repeatedly says the kingdom is within you.
Mhm.
He repeatedly says the solution to your problems are within you. He repeatedly says, I gave you an inner teacher. Right at the moment you had the insane idea you could have your own separate heaven, I put the correction to that ridiculous notion where your problem was, in your mind.
Mm-hmm.
That teacher's name in this book is called the Holy Spirit. It is the voice for God in this insane world. So you don't have to look far if you're interested in finding a better teacher. What do you have to do to discover this new teacher? I'm asking everybody.
Look within.
And there's a little more work than that.
You have to be quiet.
You have to listen,
Okay.
and
Meditate.
listening is an art, very frankly. There's programs and programs about how to listen, and you have to be quiet, and you have to be willing, and you peel the layers of the onion to be able to get there, to truly hear God and then do it if it's appropriate and you know it's God speaking.
I totally agree with you and with some of the other comments. Very straightforwardly, I would offer, you have to let the old teacher go.
Yeah.
The process for letting the old teacher go in this book is called forgiveness. All right? I'm not mad at all the stuff. I'm not mad at anybody, but I'm not bound by it. I'm not going to do that anymore. I'm going to do something else. What's the something else? Well, to find it, I'm going to clear the old stuff out. And it says it'll be there. It was blocked. It was always there. It's not something new. It's something you realize when you let the old teacher go, the new one pops up. The voice of the new one gets louder as you diminish the voice, overlook the voice. You with me? Of the old one. So it's not terribly hard, but it's difficult because this ego that you vested your identity in, that was serious stuff when you invest in the insane and say insanity is me. Final comments here. I want to, oh man, you mean we can't get to our let's do a little bit of the lesson, but any final comments here? Any dissent?
I want to say that it gets easier. Like you're saying, it is difficult, but the willingness gets easier because you see it works and nothing else has worked.
Yes.
The willingness works. Forgiveness is part and parcel with gratitude. And I will tell you a methodology that will calm your brain, that will increase your listening skills, that will help you to feel better about yourself. And I practiced it for 10 years. And every single night I write out, I am so grateful for, and I write out at least 10 things I'm grateful for. That clears my mind to hear God speaking. It does so much. There's a 300-page book by Louise Hay about gratitude, and I've given workshops on gratitude. Gratitude is one of the biggest healers there is, and it's part and parcel with forgiveness.
Thank you, Sue, and thank you for the segue. Let's do a little bit of tonight's lesson. It's on gratitude.
Surprise.
Bear with me. I know we only got a few minutes. It's on page 377 in the workbook for students. And it says, it can be but my
So,
gratitude, speaking of gratitude, that I earn. And the first thing you'll notice about this lesson is that it's part of I guess, a two-part sequence at least, because it says, here is the second step we take to free your mind from the belief in outside forces pitted against your own. It says the second step. So where's the first step? I'm figuring this in the previous lesson, don't you?
I don't know.
So I look at the previous lesson, lesson 196 on 374, and it says, it can be but myself I crucify. So let's read a paragraph of that so we get an idea of how these two lessons are related. He seems to be connecting them, right? Who's our next reader? Is it Nicole?
I think I read the last paragraph.
You did, dear. I'm sorry, I didn't keep up. Let's
No problem.
go to Karen and read just that one paragraph. That'll give us an idea.
Here is the second step we take to free your mind from the belief in
Karen,
outside. Is that right?
no, I want you to read the lesson before the first paragraph of lesson 196. He's going to talk about it's myself I crucify, and it's also my gratitude I earn. What did he say about the crucify part? Just read one paragraph.
So paragraph 1?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. When this is firmly understood and kept in full awareness, you will not attempt to harm yourself, nor make your body slave to vengeance. You will not attack yourself, and you will realize that to attack another is but to attack yourself. You will be free of the insane belief that to attack a brother saves yourself, and you will understand his safety is your own, and in his healing, you are healed.
Okay. It's kind of a theme we've heard before about our oneness and things like that, right? You look puzzled, Nicole. What's up? You good?
Yeah, I'm good.
All right. It reads, when this is firmly understood, when what is firmly understood? What's that pronoun? What is that? It.
in this lesson, it can be but myself I crucify.
Okay. So when you understand that it can be but yourself you crucify, am I doing okay with this? When you can firmly understand you're not hurting anyone but yourself, you will not attack yourself, and you will realize that to attack another is to attack yourself. There is no another. Why?
Because we're all one.
So can oneness and two-ness both be true?
No.
No.
How long have we sat on the fence and not dealt with the irreconcilable differences between sameness and differences? They both can't be true. Not both of them. They're directly contradictory. So, if understand that first, and you'll stop attacking people out of self-preservation. Does that make sense?
Mhm.
But here's a bonus, and now we are over to lesson 197, and let's just do a couple of paragraphs here, and we'll start wrapping things up for tonight. I appreciate your patience, how we go through 90 minutes and we do all this deep stuff and discussion, and you look like you're okay with it. So there we go. We're up to Sherilyn White for the first paragraph, lesson 197.
It can be but my gratitude I earn. Here is the second step we take to free your mind from belief in outside force pitted against your own. You make attempts at kindness and forgiveness, yet you turn them to attack again unless you find external gratitude and lavish thanks. Your gifts must be received with honor, lest they be withdrawn. And so you think God's gifts are loans at best, at worst, deceptions, which would cheat you of defenses to ensure that when He strikes, He will not fail to kill.
Joan, do paragraph 2, would you?
How easily are God and guilt confused by those who know not what their thoughts can do. Deny your strength, and weakness must become salvation to you. See yourself as bound, and bars become your home. Nor will you leave the prison house or claim your strength until guilt and salvation are not seen as one, and freedom and salvation are perceived as joined with strength beside them, to be sought and claimed and found and fully recognized.
So we were talking before about the closing of the gap. And I thought of that because in paragraph 1, sentence 3, sentence 2, you make attempts at kindness and forgiveness. You try to be loving, yet you turn them to attack again unless you find external gratitude and lavish thanks. It's almost you're created in the likeness and image of God. And so, therefore, like God, you make loans. A gift with conditions. I'll give you this if you give me that. Isn't that a gift? That's not a gift. That's a bargain. I'll loan you this in exchange for your love. If you don't live up to your end of it, I withdraw my gifts. They weren't really gifts because they weren't freely given with no strings attached. This lesson is going to talk about giving for its own intrinsic reward, not to get something from someone, okay? And so you can see where this is going. And we do the best we can. didn't finish this lesson, didn't do our meditation period. But I'm looking at your faces and I'm just grateful we're all still alive here, and nobody seems like no Excedrin on the table. God, when is this guy gonna be finished? Uh, Final comments tonight. Why don't we start wrapping up?
It was great. Thank you.
Thank
I
you,
would
Dave.
just offer up having gone through this kind of thing, and it came out all right.
And what is this kind of thing? Just if we could add a little more understanding.
Well, giving up the ego and realizing that everything is within me and I'm responsible for what I create, I guess, or God creates with me.
Yeah.
And it works.
Yeah.
And the last
Go ahead.
different points I thought about what it says in the Bible about Jesus saying, like, even if you think, yeah, like even your thought, I don't know where it says that, like it's not just like not to attack others or whatever, but even the thought of it. And so that's what we're talking about here, is that it's exactly the same thing. It's not that thoughts are terrible, or we're being told like don't think that, it's bad. It's that we're being taught that our thoughts are creators, and that if I think whatever thought I'm thinking, even of attack, of hate, of this, then I'll be living in it because there's only me.
Yeah.
So I'll be living in it. So that's what we're talking about here.
And when I won't take too long with this, but Nicole, I remember one of your favorite lessons is lesson 26. My attack thoughts
Yeah.
are attacking my invulnerability. And
Yeah.
since you seem to be a Bible student, you may remember that it said that Jesus said, turn the other cheek. Why, instead of smacking them back, would you turn the other cheek? It's
I guess because eventually I want to live in love. But on the moment, it might not be that.
That's very practical too. But you turn the other cheek because you understand that what you are is invulnerable.
Yeah.
And the only reason anyone would attack is because they're not invulnerable. They apparently are vulnerable. They can be hurt, right? You don't want to show your brother that you can be hurt if you're the mighty child of God. I'm sorry. It's just the whole thought system that we've been, pretty much everything we've been taught is not true.
Mm-hmm.
If we had time, I could go through a whole list of things that everyone thinks are normal that are not normal. You think we got a mental health crisis? If you only knew all of the insanity that we've had to adapt and adjust to. We're constantly asked to fit round pegs into square holes and triangles into ovals and make that happen. God is a loving God. God is a fearful God. They don't go together. I'll stop now. Everybody having a good time. I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for a good time. All right. All right. I'm getting those smiles, and thank you for coming out and for indulging us as usual, a few minutes over. But I won't keep you. I'm going to take the win tonight. Someone said last night, and it rang so true for me. She said, I always feel better when I leave here than when I came. And I said, me too. With that, I'll turn it over to Hilda and we'll close out for tonight.
The light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. The presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is. I am the light of God.
I am the
I
light.
am the
Light of
light of
Light
God.
of God.
I am the love of God.
I am
I
the
am the love of
the
God.
love of
Love
God.
of God.
I am the power of God.
I
I
am the
am
power
am
of
the
the
God.
power
of
of
God.
God.
I am the presence of God.
I am
I
the
am the
presence
presence
of
of
Presence
God.
God.
of God.
Therefore,
Therefore,
wherever I am,
Wherever
wherever
I
I am,
wherever I am,
God is,
God is.
God
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 is.
is,
and all is well.
And
and all
all
well.
is well.
There is nothing to fear.
There is
There
nothing
is
There's
nothing to
nothing to
fear.
fear.
There is only love.
but love.
There is
There
only
is
love.
only love.
Namaste.
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 thank you, Hilda. Again, thanks to all of you. If you
Thank you.
come out and join us tomorrow, I hope you will at 7 for ACIM music and meditation. Our meditation topic tomorrow night is what is stronger than one? So we'll spend some time thinking about what's stronger than one. Check us out if you get a chance. Love you. Have a great
Night.
evening, everybody.
Thank you.
Night.
Thanks,
You too.
Jim.
Namaste.
Night.
Have
Night.
a blessed week, everybody.
You
Thank you,
too.
Robert.
Thank you.
Good
You
night.
too.